Good morning, everyone. I've got my coffee. I have to start the day with it. So I hope you're going to have a good day today to start it off with. We're just going to do a quick recap of some end time stuff to look at. I want to eventually get back to some just daily things that we need to talk about. But there's so much stuff going on right now that the focus really is on the end times and on the rapture. Things are just way too crazy out there to ignore. So we're going to take a look at two different collections of verses that talk about the end times. We've been waiting for a long time. We've had rapture predictors, well, forever, but I mean, they came out of the woodwork with the Revelation 12 sign. Now, the good guys that honestly realize they made a mistake are continuing to teach. They just didn't read the clues right. The rapture is the one thing in the Bible that is confusing. There's no real information on it. I mean, it's in a couple of verses, but it doesn't talk about it outside those verses. Everything else in the Bible is repeated all throughout the Bible. Love God. The life of Jesus Christ is predicted in the Old Testament repeatedly. He didn't just satisfy one verse, he satisfied a whole bunch of Old Testament verses. But the rapture, we really only have Paul's writing to the Thessalonians that we can definitively say is about the rapture. And a little bit in Revelation 12. The rest of it we can't say for sure. There are other chapters. Some people say that it's in, Matthew or Luke or whatever. When Jesus is talking, and we're going to see this in a second, he's not talking about, when he's doing the Olivet Discourse, he's not talking about the rapture. These are Jews. He's not giving them their way out. He's telling them, you guys messed up, and this is what's coming. This isn't punishment yet. The wrath of God is what's coming. What's coming initially is man's punishment to man. All the things coming in the seals and the trumpets, that's man's work. Now, God's allowing it to happen. Anything, good or bad, that happens, God allows it to happen. Nothing happens by surprise. Satan is not more powerful than God by any means. That's almost laughable to think that he is. But we've got some things coming. They're the final wake-up call. I know because I've had problems waking up in the morning, so I have multiple alarm clocks. My son, we even got special alarm clocks to wake him up in the morning. We got one that has wheels on the side that once it starts going off, if you don't turn it off, the wheels kick in and it rolls off the top of the dresser and rolls around the floor, and you got to go find it to shut it off. We had an alarm clock that required real interaction. It had a bullseye on it, and you had a little laser pistol next to you on the bed, and if the alarm went off, you had to get up and you had to hit the bullseye. All these different things. I've got Alexa next to me. Alexa.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Alexa, how are you?
I'm feeling inspired and excited because I've got a new theme from Alicia Keys and her Keys Soul Care brand. Hey Alicia, anything you'd like to say?
I'm so glad you're feeling that way, Alexa. We're sharing all kinds of inspiring ideas and amazing beauty and skincare tips that will help nourish your skin, nurture your soul, and make sure that glow keeps glowing from the inside out.
To vibe with Alicia, just say, enable the key's soul care feed.
Okay, this is where it's fake AI, but it's pseudo AI. It's never going to reach self-thinking autonomous, but it's going to represent the future, and the Antichrist is going to use it. That's funny, that's the first time I've done that, where they've thrown in an advertisement. So normally she just says, I'm having a good day, how about you? Or something like that. Now they're getting more and more complicated as the pseudo AI starts to be programmed more and more. It's all programming, but they can put more and more into it because the computers are getting better and faster and smaller. And you can buy essentially unlimited memory now for these things if you've got the money. My laptop is still playing nice. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I got a can of air and I blew the keyboard out because it really is a laptop. And sometimes I'm eating over the top of my laptop, vanilla wafers, and I get crumbs in it, I think. I think that might be what the main problem was. Now, I don't know it's 100%, but the mouse is not going crazy. When I unplugged the mouse and it was still going crazy, I knew there was something else wrong. Troubleshooting. That's my expertise. I just had to focus on it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some things about the end times. We're not going to be able to point out and say, well, look, someone shot at Trump. That tells you we're in the end times. No, I can't do that. I can tell you that the Antichrist will be hit, mortally wounded, killed, and come back to life, and then he will be the Antichrist. Until we see that, and it's going to have to be a prominent person. It says he's the seventh king. So he's going to have to be prominent in the world today. Now, who is it? Where is it? We don't have enough information to go on. Just know that somebody out there alive today, because we are literally in the end times. I don't use the term last days. We've covered this before. Last days was talked about from Jesus' time to the end. It's considered the last days. And they said it back then in the Bible. That's covered. We're in the end of days, or end times. And we've probably got, certainly have some major things happening this year. One of them could be the rapture. In September, it will be the 7th anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. I keep forgetting the date. These things are things that I have to try to keep in my head, and I'm doing so much stuff. The Revelation 12 sign was in 2017. What is the date? Okay, September 23rd, 2017. I thought I was right, but I wasn't sure. I don't want to get it wrong. So what's going to happen this year in September on the 7th anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign? And the Revelation 12 sign talks about the dragon trying to devour us, the Christians, and God rapturing the church, Christians, off the earth. That's in Revelation 12. That's the other true rapture sign, rapture verse, is coming out of Revelation 12, and it will be 7 years this September. If I have to pick a time, that would be it. Now, if you listen to somebody like Barry who's so knowledgeable about the Bible, and he has the most marked up Bible I've ever seen, he's trying to always put it on a Jewish timeline. Barry, I love you, brother, but I don't think you're on the mark with this. Now, if you're on the mark, he's got August picked, next month, for the rapture. And he's had a number of guesses before that were wrong, where he's trying to line up events of history where God always seems to do things on certain times of history. The month of Awe next month, where that would be a good time for a rapture. Well, it would be, but that's Jewish, and we're in Christian time frame. As soon as we're out of here, they can switch to the 70th week and be back in Jewish time frame. And that's what I wanted to try to point out here when we're reading Matthew 24, which we're going to get to. Jesus is not talking about the rapture. He's talking to Jews about Jewish things. So you have to separate. If the rapture was going to be in this time frame, Jesus would have said, there's going to be a rapture of the church, of my people, my followers, and then we're going to go into these things. He doesn't say that. Jesus always provides us with the right information, and since he's talking to his disciples, there's no code, there's no parable, there's no hidden message. It's plain truth. He's talking to them. Let's go ahead and read a little bit of that, and then we'll see where we're at. Matthew 24:3. This was after they've already come from the temple. They're resting. The garden, the Olivet Discourse is happening in the Mount of Olives. Thus the name. This was Jesus' favorite spot. It's tranquil. It's like here for me. It's peaceful and tranquil. And so, while they're sitting there, while Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came up to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will these things happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Come on, Jesus. You can tell us. We're your friends. So he does. But he doesn't give them exactly what they wanted. He gives them all that they need. He knew that none of the people there alive with him that day were going to see the things that we have coming. Now, they had bad times back then. The 1st and 2nd century were horrendous for Christians in the world. And we're getting back to that now. It's kind of gone full circle, but it's taken 2,000 years to do that. So he knew that he was looking forward through time. So in Matthew 24, 4, the first thing he says, see to it that no one deceives you. When they want to know the sign of the times, that no one deceive you, is the first thing out of Jesus' mouth. These people are such a big group of liars in our government and around the world. They're heading for a one-world religion, and they can't, one-world government and religion, they can't really tell us what they're doing because they know we'd stop them. So they lie about it, and they put people in power that will do what they tell them to do. They're puppets. So it doesn't really matter who the president is. The big T would probably resist this, and he did the last time he was in office. I don't know that we're going to get him back yet. I don't know that we're going to get him back in office. And if they do, they may change the rules enough so that he can't do anything. We'll see what happens, but I don't think we're going to have him in office anymore. Okay. For many will come in my name, claiming I am the Christ, and will deceive many. Many will come in my name. The world is looking for the Antichrist. Well, they're looking for the Christ. Christians are looking for the Antichrist, which we're not going to see. We're going to be out of here. We're the restraining force. The world is looking for Christ to come. But there will be many throughout that 2,000-year time frame. They may offer you some Kool-Aid. Don't drink it. They may offer you food. If you take the mark, don't take it. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. How many wars have we had since Jesus' time? Countless. From world wars, civil wars, country wars where they're fighting. We became a nation because England was so busy fighting France and Spain to a degree that they didn't have time to come deal with us. It's nice how things worked out for us. Wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Don't let anything bother you in life, let alone wars and rumors of wars. If you die, you go to heaven. If you live, you eventually go to heaven anyway. These things must happen, but the end is still to come. It's out there somewhere. What is that? Something crawling on my tent. We're getting rain again today. It's already sprinkled a little bit. There's scattered rain all over the south. It's not a well-organized front, but it's coming. And that's kind of the way I feel about the rapture. It's not a well-organized front, but it's coming. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Well, we've had that in history. We've already had it, and we're still having it. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, and we've again had that, and are still going to have that. Somebody pointed out that, was it the same day that Camilla says she's not going to meet with Netanyahu, that the geyser in Yellowstone blows up bigger than it's ever done before? Yeah, we pay a price for our, as a country, we pay a price. So we need to worry about who we have in office. Because things like this can happen in our country that we are going to suffer from if our leaders don't do the right thing. All these things are the beginning of the birth pains. Revelation 12 talks about the birth pains. Mother giving birth. Virgo. Jupiter's the baby. The Revelation 12 sign. You know it. I've shown it before. Mid-September is a good possibility for a rapture. God does things with numbers. That'll be 7 years. Okay. Then they will deliver you over to be persecuted and killed, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. Again, he's talking to the Jews. He's not talking to us as Christians. You can be a Christian Jew, and that's fine. That's the best of both worlds. We're adopted, but if you're Jewish, you're already in the family, and if you accept Christ, it's perfect. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. At that time, many will fall away and will betray and hate one another. It is not a pleasant world out there, and I think we're starting to see it talking about our time. But we've had bad times before. I mean, we've had the Holocaust. We've had other times where Jews were killed. Christians and Jews were killed many, many times in our century around the world, and in the millennium that we've had, the 2,000 years. Come on, no, stop itching. Many false prophets will arise and lead many. I'm not going to specifically mention pastors' names, but there are some out there that I think are total false prophets. I think that our certain religions out there were created by false prophets. Again, I'm not going to go into names. You know who they are. Where you have to have another book, because it's not good enough to have the Bible. Remember, the Jews made that mistake already, and we should have learned from it. They had their commentaries, and they relied on those, and they missed the Messiah, who was their Messiah. Came for them, and it's like the parable of the party guests at the wedding. Nobody showed up, so we went out in the street and invited everybody else. Well, we're everybody else, because the Jews rejected it. We don't hold the Jews responsible for killing Christ. That was what they had to do. And because of it, we have salvation. No replacement theology here. We're still related. And the Jews and the Muslims are related, and they shouldn't be fighting. Satan is so good. Okay. Because of the multiplication of witnesses, the exponential multiplication, the love of most will grow cold. Isn't that out there now? I think there's an ant, the big ant, crawling between my screen and the zipped up cover. So I'm going to have to deal with him. He's actually in the tent, but he's got the screen. Like I got a screen right here. Keeps the bugs out. But I have to, my air conditioning duct to take the hot air out has to go through the door. I never bothered to install an actual duct like you'd have for your dryer or something to go through the wall. I've never installed one of those. I just run it through the zipper of the door, zip it down, and try to close it. But, ants can come up that, and occasionally they do. But even if you got a house, you've got spiders in your house sometimes, and ants, and cockroaches, and other things, and you have to either deal with an exterminator or do it yourself. Okay. But the one who preserves till the end will be saved. It's talking to the Jews. It's not talking about us being raptured. There will be a remnant of Jews that are left over after all the stuff that goes on in Revelation, and they will be the one that seeds the millennium. God will protect them, and they will go into the millennium. The millennium will start off with good, God-fearing people. I don't know if they're Christians, but it's possible that they are. I would kind of bet on that if I had a choice on that they would be Christians, maybe part of the, we have the 144,000 that are going to instruct people. So they may be the ones that learn and survive and go into the millennium. The 144,000, they're going to get raptured along with the two witnesses. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So we're doing our bit now, but we're going to be pulled out of here. Stop itching nose. Why is it itching? Well, I had oatmeal for breakfast. I have an allergy to wheat. That's probably the reason. It didn't start acting up until after I ate. There's so many things I can't eat. I hate to even think about what I've got for options. Okay. I probably would normally end it there. I don't know how much time I've got. You know, I probably should end it there. The next video, we're going to continue this message, and I'll read the second part because I'm already at 25 minutes. you have to accept Christ to take the early out. But if you don't, and you persevere and you can survive, there are ways to not die. The people in the millennium won't die. They're going to live through it all the way. And there will be more added to it. Now, how's he going to do that? I don't know. Take away sickness? I don't know. A lot of the things that we get sick from are what Satan does here on the earth to make us sick. I think every disease, every cancer is Satan's way of getting back at us. I don't know. But I think all that's going to be taken care of. Satan's going to be hidden away for those 1,000 years, so we might survive. There's nothing that our body, there's no time clock in our body that says we're only going to live so long that we can't fix. It is a physical problem. So God could fix that. They lived close to 1,000 years pre-flood. Methuselah, 969 years. Noah didn't start building the ark till he was like 300. I think he lived to be like 600. So, we could, on this earth we could live a long time, but why? Heaven's the place we want to go. The new heaven and the new earth is really the place we really want to go. I can't tell you what it's going to look like, but the creator of this behind me is creating the new earth. Let's see what we get. All right. Be kind to others. It opens the door for you to talk about Jesus. Be cheerful. It also opens the door for you to talk about Jesus. If you're grumpy and complaining all the time, why would anybody want what you're offering? Love, joy, and peace, long-suffering, gentleness. They're all there in Ephesians. Look at them. Not Ephesians, Galatians. Ephesians has the armor of God. The fruits of the Spirit are in Galatians. Look them up. Right now, Google is still your best bet for finding stuff. But be careful of Wikipedia and things like that can be edited. And eventually, Google will be corrupted too. It's not quite there yet. They're not ready to reveal their satanic creation and part of the ongoing world that we're going to see. But the most information in the world right now is available to this generation. Never before has anyone had this much information available at your fingertips, literally. We didn't have personal computers when I started learning about computers. We didn't have cell phones. I had the first cell phone. The big bag you carry, and you can get the same thing in your car, permanently mounted, but I carried it around because I sometimes had different cars. And then when they had the first Motorola clamshell, I still like Motorola. My phone right now that I'm recording on is a Motorola. A Moto Z, I think. Don't pay $1,000 for a cell phone. This one here will do almost the same thing. Well, I mean, it's a couple years old now, but it would do almost the same thing as the iPhone, and I paid $120 for it. And it works well. It's got the multiple cameras just like the iPhone. It was like a generation behind. And with this technology, it's always being, they put new stuff in to get you to buy a new phone every year. That's why I quit buying iPhones. And I told you what they paid to have this manufactured. There's only 3 cell phone manufacturers in the world, and they're all in China. That's going to be interesting when they become dominant over the United States. What are they going to do to us here? We just shut our electronic world down here in the last week. They could do it again anytime. They could shut your phone down right now. They could take the satellites out, but I'm going to upload this with you in a little bit. It's going to be harder for Starlink because there's so many of them, but they could. It's about to get unbearable down here. So have your bags packed. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.